on the ECW, it won't be as good. I think we should finish it off here with Talk WWF. My man Mark, what do you think? Who's so much to cover? Who do you think your most underrated guy in the WWF is?
Underrated in WWF. I should have been thinking this whole time. Yeah, don't start with me again.
Don't start with you again.
Maybe go to me second this time around.
All right.
You want to start it?
Here we go. I have two also.
All right.
They might have been different from last night. Last night's is kind of fuzzy.
Congratulations to the Suteras. We had a great time at your wedding. The dude got married. His lovely bride, Kim. We had a great time, and we enjoyed your open bar quite a bit, talking wrestling.
So I changed I was taking a shower today, and I was like really thinking about this topic. You know, we were all three of us were WWF guys. We still are. You know, there's not much else out there, but underrated Owen Hart.
You think so?
Yeah, he got the King of the Ring push.
I don't think he's overrated in today's or underrated in today's world because I think everybody knows how.
Yes,
and he was gone way too soon, of course.
And I also the British Bulldog.
Now that I can give you the underrated on because he's not even in the same regard as Owen is.
No.
And I don't know that he should be. He wasn't as good as Owen
wasn't.
was.
Early 90s, though, he was something special. And mid-80s to the early 90s, he was special, I think.
I thought he was still pretty good on his run later. Like, you know, he had the match with Brett in 95 when he cut the hair with the blood and Hershey. That was a great match. He had a great match with Owen. It was like that year for the European title. He had a great match with Sean.
Sean at Beware of Dog or whatever. Yeah, I mean, but he just didn't. He had the Intercontinental push, or the title once. He had the European title, which was almost like a gimme. But he was the first champion. Yeah, so that's who I have. And
do you have anything good to say about his jeans hardcore title run after he came back?
No.
Getting slammed in dog poop?
Wasn't he in WrestleMania 2000 with the jeans?
I think so.
I think he was.
I think so.
I love the Bulldog with the beautiful cape and the braids and the, you know, walking the Bulldog out.
Yeah.
Like 92, 93, all the way to 95. Was him and Sean, when Sean won the Royal Rumble twice, right?
Yeah, with 95, they were the first two in.
The last two out.
Last two out. Yeah, Bulldog was the last one out.
Yeah. And I want to say he's always like the number two because he could work and he was a big guy that could.
He was a big guy.
That
was the thing.
The gas.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody puts him in the Brett Sean Owen mold of as good of a worker, but he was way bigger than those guys. He was a
huge powerhouse,
up dude. Yeah.
And overrated, I'm gonna go with. I told you last night, Randy Orton.
And that's one of your favorites.
Yeah. Yeah. But my reason is because every 2 years you know Randy Orton's in a world title picture or he wins the belt and nobody gives a fuck.
Not anymore.
Back when, like, the only time I can remember him is the first couple times he won it. It was a big deal. He was young. He had the Intercontinental. But like now it's like he's had it 14 times or something. Nobody cares.
I like even tried to do in my head like the last couple like WrestleManias of the world title match or the Universal title matches and the WWE title match, and like I could not remember at all 2 years ago. I'm like, who in the hell was it? And I was like, oh, it was Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. Like it took me a long time to think about it.
It was that goofy. The video would come on. It was just weird.
It just wasn't good.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But yeah, that's my most overrated in the WWE.
How do you feel about Randy Orton on the overrated list?
See, Randy Orton, he blew up when I wasn't watching. So
okay.
I really nowadays he doesn't do much, and what he does do isn't that impressive to me. The thing coolest to me about Randy Orton is the RKO, the out of nowhere aspect.
We talked about that on our finishers, you know, and I think the Diamond Cutter with DDP started, but that RKO out of nowhere is always over, still over. Did you see him when he was doing the punt in the head gimmick, where he was kicking guys in the head?
That was probably when he did. Yeah,
that was probably
Legend
when he was at his best.
That was my
where
favorite.
He was
Randy
this big
Orton.
heel, and they would just be on all fours, and he'd kind of run and do a football punt to the head, the side of the head, and they sold it like a career killer, you know, like they would do stretcher jobs and everything like that. I know he got Vince once with it.
Wow. No, I didn't know.
Remember, wasn't he putting people on the second rope and DDTing them. And
He
then
still does that.
Punting it at their head.
Oh, I don't know. He still does that though. That's just one of his spots now. But that was Legend Killer Orton.
Legend Killer
Sadistic
Orton was fun.
I know he did that DDT to Stephanie while Triple H was like handcuffed. That was to
Yes.
build the 25.
Yep.
Like he like looked at him and smiled and just splattered her. There was some really good Orton the last 5 years or so.
Not good. Not.
And it's not bad. The
Yeah.
matches aren't bad. He doesn't have a bad match. It's still, I'll tell you, like, especially 8, 10 years ago, if you're doing a builder wrestler, like, it's Randy
was the
Orton.
guy.
It's Randy
Yeah.
Orton. That's your builder wrestler.
When
That's
he
the
kicked
guy.
that injury bug, man, he really got. That's when he took off. You know.
So you think he's overrated in the sense that if he's being put in that absolute top tier WWE, you don't think
not
he's there.
No, I don't think he ever has been.
I dig it. I understand.
I got you.
So that's what we're saying. A little controversial, even to himself. Jeff loves Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I know that he's a
that's
Randy
good.
Orton
I mean,
fan.
I don't dislike Randy Orton.
Yeah, that's
It's
it's
just-
overrated, but there's I can hear the reason why on that. So, you ready for yours, my man?
Underrated for me again is also he never really was a top guy. He was real popular. He's well known in the business and in history, but X-Pac.
Ah, that's a good one.
That is a pretty good.
I love
one.
X-Pac. So I've always even when he was 1-2-3 Kid, and I saw him as a
Sure.
kid at the Civic Center with Razor Ramon, watching them get pissed off at each other in a tag team match. Like,
At his height, he was really over too. He was super duper over. I mean,
he was in DX like,
with the DX, and he kind of got to play the underdog.
and NWO.
Yeah, he was in two of the biggest
two of
factions.
the
Yeah.
sessions of all time, and he beat me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to rank 1, 2, or 3 right now, but those are obviously 3 huge moments in his career.
Oh, for sure.
I would
Not
say
top.
DXU NWO.
I'm okay with that. I'm all right with
I
that.
like that.
And he's such a knowledgeable guy in the business too. And I know Jericho has mentioned many times when he got to the WWF, they put him with X-Pac because X-Pac was the guy that could basically say, yeah, he's good, or I don't know. You know, so they wanted to put Jericho with him to see, like, this, for Jericho, like, do you think he's got anything? And X-Pac worked with him and had good matches and kind of gave him he's going to be good.
And for X-Pac
Yeah.
to be them to give him kind of that responsibility, that unmarked like role that he played of like yay or nay, and he was part of the clique, is like that's good for him because like they trusted him. It's like, oh, it's just Xbox friends. That's why he said, let's push him or get him the fuck out of here because they hated him. But like he did, he did go with the guys that they were just bringing in. He was like a top of the mid card guy.
He was a right place, right time. You
Yeah.
can't deny that, but at the same time, like, I think that might be what he gets lumped in with. It's like, oh, you were in the NWO because you were Hall and Nash's buddy. Okay, maybe so, but he was still a really good worker. He's still
Yeah,
really good.
very
And oh,
good.
you're in DX because you're Hunter's buddy. Yeah, maybe, but also he was a key part of that.
Well, and he was the high flyer before like the Hardys. And
He was the high flyer, but
Edge and
there's like
Christian
any
came
high
around.
flyers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
He
1, 2,
was
3
the high
Kid
flyer. Yep.
was. I mean, that when he beat Razor was like a huge deal.
Everybody remembers that
Everybody remembers that.
Yeah.
to this day.
Yeah.
I want
ran
to say it
out.
was on my birthday when it happened.
Was it really?
It does sound pretty.
I
doggone
think it.
close.
I think it
Wow.
happened on my birthday.
What a
So
cool
We
It's
can
fuck
look it up.
Xbox.
We have the network for $9.99.
Oh, yeah, we can
So
roll it
take
back.
a look. We can watch that anytime.
Shit.
I like it.
And overrated is a modern one. Like I don't dislike him, but I don't understand what's so spectacular about him. Dean Ambrose.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
People
a good
love
one.
that.
that
guy.
is a good one.
People
That's
love that
very
guy.
good
And
one.
I mean,
thought you were going somewhere
when
else
he
with
runs and just like pushes off the bottom
You don't like
turnbuckle
that
and goes
little
away.
flip-
Like, what's the point? It
Yeah.
gives him no push or like momentum or nothing. Like, it's just flair. But I mean, I like him. I don't really see how he's a lunatic.
You like him.
But
You don't see Top Guy though.
no, his title run was mediocre.
Title run was not great. By the time AJ beat him for it, of course it's AJ Styles. Well, but I
I
think
like him
everybody
more than
was-
Roman
was-
Reigns. You know what I mean?
That's who I thought you were going with, and
that's
which
a-
would
that's
have
an
definitely
obvious
been
choice.
okay.
That's too
Obvious
easy.
choice.
That was
Yeah.
too easy.
But Dean Ambrose to me, I mean, I don't dislike him, but I just don't get why he's.
When
Where
he
he's at.
was
So, yeah.
ascending, like when he was like kind of getting to that spot, I was kind of really feeling his stuff. Then when he got there, maybe it was a mix of being complacent or maybe a mix of the shtick getting old, but I saw it too, where it was like, yeah, I don't really care if I even watch this Dean Ambrose match. You know?
I mean, he's funny from time to time. He made a Pearl Jam reference one time
you
to
see with
Elias.
Elias? You say no to Pearl Jam?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that. That made me like him a little bit more. But
he's got, I mean, I like that he's got a little bit of a different character from everybody else.
yeah, he wrestles in jeans. That's different, I guess.
Evan
Gene
Wiley,
Ambrose.
Gene Ambrose. Evan Wiley will be out there going, that's why he hates him. Evan liked everything else about Ambrose, but hated him because he wrestled in jeans.
And his hair.
Gene
I don't like his
Ambrose.
hair.
I don't like his hair.
That's a
Weird.
good one, Mark. I like that.
I do like that
that's
one. I
pretty
think
good.
it's a pretty fair one, man. All right. So, I thought about maybe switching it from last night, but I'm not going to. My underrated, because I think he is, he's maybe not a top 5 all-time WWF guy because there's so many, but he should be 6 or 7. I'm thinking Edge. I think Edge is underrated. You shut up, Josh out there. If you bought a new phone already or a new listening device,
Listen
he
on
underrated?
something else.
don't break this. I think so. I think he's underrated in the sense that he doesn't get put into that top tier of guys, of all timers. Josh made a good point. He thought that him and Orton both got inflated a little bit because they had so many title reigns. When the title reigns don't mean as much, which may be fair. I just think Edge is absolutely a superstar, and I think he really came to life with that Matt Hardy thing.
That real life.
The real life thing, though. In real life, Edge was a goddamn shithead.
Yeah.
Okay? And Matt Hardy should have came back and set the world on fire and been like the absolute babyface. But when they actually got together, Edge was just so much better. And I'm
He
saying in the
was.
promos and everything, like, like I remember Edge say, like, Matt's cutting this like kind of generic babyface promo, and Edge is standing there with Lita going, the reason why she's with me is because I'm more of a man than you in every single way. And I'm like, and he kind of has that shit-eating grin that he always did. And I'm like, that motherfucker, what a fucking asshole. And I'm like, he is good.
The fact
He
that
is good.
Vince wanted that to happen is like crazy. Like, he's the Antichrist. Like,
Yeah.
he should have been like, okay,
He's
you're on
just a fucking
SmackDown, you're on
genius.
Raw, you guys never see each other. Let's go to work,
Well, and
boys.
that-
He knows people want to see that.
Yeah.
It makes you almost think, like, is he that much of a genius where the firing and everything was all a work? Like, we fire the guy who had his old lady cheat
Heart
on him while he was
broke.
and his
Yeah.
heart
Yeah,
broke.
because didn't
And we
he
fire
run
him.
in and interrupt a match or something?
Yeah,
like
they
that?
brought him back. He was
Called him Adam, not Edge. and
right.
shit?
He was running in. He did some indie shots, and then like all of a sudden he's running in because Vince knew where the money was, and it almost makes you think that he do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it should have made
Yeah,
Matt
that's what I
Hardy the
thought.
biggest babyface ever, but out of that it was Edge.
So you're telling me I don't remember that. They fired Edge?
No, they fired Matt Hardy.
They fired Matt Hardy.
Yeah, they fired Matt Hardy. And then after that was then Edge getting the Money in the Bank, capturing, he was the first. He was the first to cash in on Cena. Didn't hold it long. Kind of a bullshit angle. But then after that, it was when him as the rated R superstar was really when he hit the ground running. Like, even Josh agreed with me earlier, like all of his big matches he delivered. Like,
Yeah.
The matches with Cena were always good. Matches with Taker were always good.
That's a lot of people forget about that one. That was actually a pretty good.
It was
rivalry.
good
Yeah,
rivalry. It
feud.
was a good run of matches. When it was him to hit the ground running with his big time matches, he always delivered. Now, granted, it took a huge toll on his body. He had to retire before he was 40 because those TLC matches, and he did Hell in a Cell matches, and he took big bumps. Shortened his career, but I really do. I think that he should be included in that absolute top tier,
I could
the
agree
top
with that.
row of WWE guys, and I don't think he is in most people's opinions.
No,
And
he's not. Absolutely.
Would we have broken Matt Hardy today if all that hadn't happened?
I can't explain Matt Hardy at all. Matt got to that point where, you just wanted him to go away, and then he went and did the absolutely so ridiculous character to the point where, like, you know what, Matt?
Come on back.
I dig.
No,
Like,
I love it. I love broken or woken.
I kind of liked version 1 Matt Hardy.
oh,
though.
version 1,
Yeah.
new one, though, that was good stuff. Yeah. If you're over the top ridiculous, we kind of like Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Matt being himself is just not all that much
Not
fun.
as a singles guy.
No.
I agree.
So that's my underrated, and I might scooch a little closer to Jeff here because my most overrated is Bret the Hitman Hart.
Oh, that hurt.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Now, and here's the thing: I had a
That
couple
hurt.
overrated guys in my head, and they're all guys that I like. Okay, and I think the $1 Million Man's a little overrated. I think Ravishing Rick Rude is a little overrated. I love Ravishing Rick Rude. I think he's the coolest character. The take my robe off gimmick is great, and he looks the part.
Promos
were amazing,
spot on.
and then in the ring he was good. He wasn't great. I there's not that one like, oh my god, you gotta see this Ravishing Rick Rude match.
Okay.
That being said, there's a lot of, oh my god, you gotta see these Bret Hart matches. I'm not sitting here on this podcast at all trying to say that Bret Hart wasn't one of the best in-ring workers of all time, because he was. He absolutely was. There's 5-star matches. Him and Austin from WrestleMania 13 is still, I think, one of the best matches ever that's ever happened. 97 Bret Hart is not overrated. That is a top guy. Him and his heel run with the Canadian faction. That was the match with Stone Cold there at 13. And the Reformed Heart Foundation, the Calgary Stampede pay-per-view. Nothing about 97 Bret Hart is overrated. 97 Bret Hart, I would put on my show every single day, and he'd be a top guy.
For sure.
That was the first time he ever did anything different at all. So the reason why he's on my overrated list is because his run started in late 92, as a top guy. Mm-hmm. He never drew shit. Didn't draw a dime. Talked about internationally. Yeah, he was over internationally. Domestically,
Canada, obviously.
Domestically, though, he didn't draw anything. He was not a good promo. Not
You're
until
right.
'97 when he had his
When they
heel
let him,
run.
yeah.
And he just. But you know what though? That was just him.
Yeah.
That was just him. Like
And then
not being the hero. Like in his own mind, he is such the hero. For a guy who takes the business as seriously as he does, I don't think he realizes it's a work sometimes.
Yeah.
Like he took his shit so seriously where no, we didn't want the next Hulk Hogan, okay? We didn't want that. We were happy to have a guy who was a good wrestler and seemed a little more authentic. But man, give us something. Give us a little sizzle with the steak. And like I never did.
Yeah.
And so when I say overrated, I don't say it as in I don't think he's as good as a wrestler as everybody says he is. No, he's the fucking fantastic wrestler. But if you're talking your top guys, you're talking that big time top tier guys that would bring you in, WF guys and your Hulk Hogan's and your Macho Mans and your Austins and your Rocks and Shawn Michaels is and Undertakers. Bret's always included in that. I don't think he should be. I don't think he's with that list.
That's a good point too, especially talking about where he started and like he was kind of carrying WWF at the time from like 92 up until like Austin. And if you think about it, he was carrying them at a much lower level than they were once Austin came around.
Before him was Hogan.
And Austin
after
was around
him was
in
Austin.
97.
And in between's Bret. And if you there's just no way he's going to be on that same platform.
Yeah,
you could
like,
almost throw
you're right.
Michaels in there too, because when Michaels had that run right before Austin and DX and all that, the business started going up a little bit.
Yeah.
I agree. Like he couldn't be that guy. But then I'm sitting here thinking, I'm listening to everything he said, but like look who they had to put in there with him. He had matches with
Diesel
Waylon
and Razor.
Mercy.
Well,
with
yeah, Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
And Isaac Yankem.
Isaac Yankem. Let's just
wasn't-
go.
it wasn't great.
Diesel's a big guy. You know,
There was Shawn and Taker in there too, which but yeah.
the
there was-
Patriot.
Even Hakushi, which was a great wrestler.
Yeah,
but,
but
Lawler, he did a lot
not
of
with
stuff
American fans.
Yeah.
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah. So, but that still, I mean,
No, the product
Hogan
is-
was working with guys, and
Hogan's were with goddamn King Kong Bundy.
Yeah,
like
so
and not that,
that-
not
that
that
argument's kind
he
of
was working with Earthquake, and like I think Earthquake's actually a little bit underrated as a big man, but he's never set the world on fire
No.
anywhere. You know what I mean? So yeah, well, no, I mean Hogan and Savage had a long run. I mean, so they had each other. Hogan and Andre, of course, had their.
But yeah,
big
you're right.
run.
He had Sid Vicious, and so that. But
Okay.
John Lapierre Lafitte.
Jean-Pierre Lafitte's a little, yeah. It wasn't the. I mean, when you got to listen, there'll never be a collection of talent like the Attitude Era had. Like it
No.
just wasn't
Of names.
of
Yeah.
names of
Yeah.
guys who earn those names, because you know Foley earned his name there, and he's always like 5th or 6th when you talk about him. But
Yeah.
he was great then. The Outlaws, like we talked about earlier, were so over, and they're not in that your first breath of names that you bring out.
Yeah.
But they could have been in any other era.
Right.
They were super duper over. So yeah, that's the thing with Brett, man. Like in-ring wrestler, never going to hear me say a bad word about him. As an overall talent, he didn't carry himself. I just don't see top star when I see Bret Hart. I just don't. Even
Hurts to see, it hurts to hear it, but
even
you
comparing
make great points.
comparing to Shawn
Yeah.
Michaels.
Well, Shawn Michaels is 1A
Yeah.
of the best. You know, he's
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could have said way more upsetting picks than Bret Hart. For
Brett,
sure.
but we were here when you said Brett's like your favorite, like kind of got you into wrestling. So like,
Well, Bret and Shawn Michaels my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
But like Bret, yeah.
But he makes great points when he says he couldn't carry the company.
No.
It might have had something to do with the booking, might have had something to do with the talent that time, but
And
It
even
still,
it
usually
could.
he still couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, wrestling. There's so much of it is your promo, and again, Hulk Hogan, same kind of shtick, but it's a big over the top promo. Hulk Hogan's just big over the top. Period. Austin stuff and the Rock stuff, and it's just like, boy, they captivated you. They brought you in when they were talking. You listen. Brett kind of had the same old shtick. Was I'm coming out here to fight, and I'm coming out here to do the da 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 da
I'm
da.
the best of all
Yeah.
time.
Great, good. Best there was, best there ever will be. Okay, great. 97 turning heel was awesome. But man, that's something different. Everything else, great mid card guy. That's Bret Hart to me.
Yeah,
I agree.
great Intercontinental Champion.
Great Intercontinental
I would throw him
champion.
up there as top 3. Like, I loved him as Intercontinental Champion.
Not my favorite world champion.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
No, that makes sense to me for sure.
Man, so you all right? I mean, I'm not getting thrown out of your house here
No.
talking shit about Bret Hart.
Not yet.
Bret
at
Hart's
least.
not even, like I said, I'm surprised you think I would be so mad because, like I said, Bret Hart's not even my favorite. I remember loving Bret Hart, but like Shawn Michaels has been my dude forever.
Yeah.
There's nobody could ever say Shawn Michaels is overrated.
No,
Not
I don't. I don't know
in
how
this
they
room,
could.
I don't think.
And it's crazy too because his second run might be better than his
It
first.
really was.
But
That's
I
the
loved
thing.
his first. I
His
thought
first run was so good. I put him over Brett in that run, even though they're both awesome. And then that's like forgetting that he was around from like 02 to 010 or
Yeah.
whatever it was,
Yeah.
where he was so fucking good still.
so good. And he came back for like 6 weeks or something. He's like, it's just a little part-time gig.
They said that SummerSlam match was supposed to be a one-off, and then maybe
Yeah.
Survivor Series was like another one-off, and then
Fuck it, I'm back.